Hi everyone, my name is Tana Vali and I am one of the mentees of Priestess Ocean Funke. And today we are going to be going over how to properly dress a candle. So the first thing you want to do is determine which kind of candle you're using. If you're using one in glass, that's probably the best idea. Just make sure that if there's, like this one has a film on it, you want to just peel this off. If it has a sticker on it on the side or on the bottom, make sure you take those off as well. If you are using a votive candle like this, one of the bigger ones, you want to make sure you have a container to put it in. Same thing if you're using one of these. There's usually like a little stand that you can place these on, but you want to still make sure that you have it in something. Or if you don't want to buy something extra, you can put it in like a little glass dish like this. That will work perfectly fine. You just don't want to use that dish for anything else after that. Or if you have one of those bigger candles that doesn't come in glass, you can use a plate. Just make sure you peel the sticker off the back. So we're going to assume you're using one of these. So the first thing you want to do is get some Florida water, whether it's store-bought or homemade, doesn't really matter, but get your Florida water, rub a little on your hands, and get every part of your candle, top, back, the inside, along the rim, and make sure your candle is not dusty right here. So kind of wipe that a little bit. That will guarantee that it gets all the gross off of it first. And then if you're going to be writing anything on this candle, make sure you can use a cotton swab in order to like swab the Florida water one so you don't have quite as much access. But then you can also just use a cotton swab to wipe it off, just to make sure it's dry while you're doing other things. Or you can enchant your herbs while you're doing that as well. So after you do that, you want to write something on here, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and do that. And then you want to get to the point to where you trim the wick first. You should trim this wick before you start adding anything because you don't want to tilt this with stuff in it. So you want to trim it to, most of the time they tell you about 1/4 of an inch. An inch is fine, but 1/4 of an inch is better. And then just make sure it's still sitting straight up. So it shouldn't be like super long. The longer the wick, the higher the fire, and then it'll burn dirty. And when it burns dirty, you'll get that, which you don't want. And these are candles I don't use for anything in particular. There's no herbs in these, but if the flame gets too high, it will start to do that. This is an example of one that I burned that is perfectly clean. So it just depends on how high that gets. So you want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So you've cut your wick, you've used the Florida water on your candle, and you've enchanted your herbs. So notice how little bit of herbs there is on here, not a lot. You do not want a lot. So the best thing to do is after you enchant your herbs, mix them together and then enchant them as a whole together as well. And if you have something that has bigger pieces, like I had chamomile in here just now, you can break that up as you continue to enchant, and then you sprinkle it on. And if there's any big chunks in there, you do not want those in. Any stems, take those out as well. And then make sure that it is not near the wick. You can use a Q-tip or your fingers, but you can use a Q-tip. You just don't want to use anything metal in here. So cotton is best because it has magical power. So using cotton is perfectly fine. But you want to make sure that it's not a whole lot and it's not right by the wick. And then if you need to use an oil, you can just enchant that while you're dropping it. And then you only need a few drops. I recommend getting one with a dropper. but I would say no more than 4 drops. You can do kind of like a diamond inside, but you don't want a whole lot. You don't want it to be dripping. So you can barely tell that there's any oil in there at all. You can't even see it running. So that is how you properly dress a candle. If you have any questions, please tag a moderator in the chat and we will be more than happy to help you.